Okay.
in my opinion. Or you could pick your carry because you see your carry matchup and you see your lane. So either decide this carry is the carry and then you pick a support, or you pick your actual carry right now.
Okay. Would you prefer a Tiny to be moved into the support?
I think support Tiny makes sense to me against Medusa. I just think it's the lesser of two evils. I don't think you feel good about this Tiny playing 4 or carry into Medusa, but I think with what you got last game out of Norman on the Tiny, that you run it back. But you got to me, you got to find an offlaner that works with Tiny, because that can be the tricky thing. And they're gonna get their offlane, so they get the Timbersaw. Looking to maybe put some pressure on that lane.
That's a scary pick. I don't think they're lacking at all in magic damage to kill Timbersaw. I guess he gets a good lane, and that's kind of the most important thing. If Narman, I mean, it's kind of weird because they don't even see the mid. So like something like Boom are really good at. They might like FBZ's Timbersaw, right? It's great because it just allows Tims to go gank mid all the time with his like aggressive ganky mid. Tiny, I guess, can do that roaming, but you don't see the mid hero that you're going to be ganking, so it's not necessarily going to be good to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's like the best Timber game either, so this must be some sort of comfort pick. I don't know if it's a comfort pick. I'm confused by this Timber. What do you think?
I mean, curious to see how it works out. I know Womi has played. I wouldn't say like it. I mean, it's probably some amount of comfort, but it's definitely not like, it was a level 30 Pug now. It's on his Pangolier. I think those to me are like his two big heroes. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I wouldn't rate Timbersaw super highly against Medusa. Like, yeah, maybe once you can push the Medusa out of lane, like around that, level 6 timing, but Medusa is one of those heroes that is more than happy to hit up the jungle. It's not like some of these like Drow Ranger type heroes where it's like, oh, I gotta go jungle. This is not ideal.
Yeah, maybe it is just about the map control then. Because if they get level 6 on Void Spirit, they connect him up to the Timbersaw, they take the tower, like Medusa won't be able to lane at that point, then you just take her jungle, force her into the triangle, and then she's kind of like just low on net worth. And that's
they banned, by the way. Dude, they were playing Sniper last week.
Oh, hell yeah.
Dude, that's why I love Orange Juice. They're winning games and playing cool heroes. These guys are stylish.
I like Sniper. I miss him.
Yeah, you really wanted to see him yesterday in one of the games.
Yeah, there's no catch. Why not?
Yeah, they picked Drow. Drow's boring.
I love Drow, excuse me.
Last picks for either team. Do you guys have a feeling of what they want?
UDV doesn't, because they banned a Sniper and a Baden. Two complete polar opposite heroes. Like one of the, I guess again, it's still a big question of where's Tiny going when it comes to Army Genius.
Makes sense, right? Abaddon will enable Tiny to be a carry in this game. At least in lane, he'll have a really good time.
So yeah, I guess UDV, they also have some flex potential with the Sand King, but I think the Sand King Hoodwink lane is just so solid that you probably just run with that. I think UDV's mid, you're looking at a hero with more magic damage just to burst through Timber.
Alina, yes.
Yeah,
we could see Alina here. That would be great.
I want Alina.
I would like Alina here.
Lina, Quap, Puck.
Well, not Quap because she's banned.
Okay, no Quap. Lina, Puck then.
Lina. Don't pick a Puck, please.
I don't want
I don't
Puck.
want to see Puck anymore.
Yeah, I don't want Puck. I would prefer Lina. I just feel like if you're playing into Timber Tiny, I want more damage than what Puck provides. Puck is kind of like poke, 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 poke.
I think the Puck also, I guess, addresses the Void Spray bit, but you've already got lots of disable, like Bane, Sand King, Hoodwink, so I'm totally okay with that.
And Lina is also more. More.
I mean, I don't know if it's any other like Leshrac maybe is like a magic damage hero you could maybe consider against Timber.
I'd be down. You have setup for his stun as well. Okay.
Oh, I always forget about Batrider. Get to these end of these drafts and like the magic damage mids and like Batrider. Like, I feel like I never think of that.
Game. Oh.
I don't forget. I just want Lina.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit disappointed.
That's okay. It fits like the niche we wanted, like the magic damage. Ooh, new hero.
And you guys said we weren't gonna see anything new.
Oh well, to be fair, we have actually had a Slark in the upper division of C, so it's not technically. It's not crazy. It's not crazy new, but it's like it's new. It's not like screaming
new,
when
but
like
it's new.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's not new? Ares and Danog.
What?
Yeah, sorry, you guys aren't really new. Yeah, you guys are old. But give me some new insight about these drafts if you want to start Danog.
I mean, I don't know if it's any other like mid Leshrac maybe is like a magic damage hero you could maybe consider against Timber.
But give me some new insight about these drafts if you want to start Danog.
I mean, I don't know if it's any other like mid Leshrac maybe is like a magic damage hero you could maybe consider against Timber.
Slark used to be a police officer before he did his Dota career about 2 years ago.
Really? Yeah?
Yeah,
And did Medusa
absolutely.
quit culinary school as well?
She worked at a zoo previously.
Makes
Oh,
sense.
fair enough.
Yeah, I
That
can
does
see why they probably fired her.
I don't know. That's
Just throwing the snakes around.
She's actually kidnapping the snakes
Bro,
to
that's
take them
animal
home.
abuse. No.
No.
Not the snake.
But some actual Dota analysis, or you could just give me some more random facts about the heroes.
Yeah, please.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, no, yeah, we can go for random facts, can't we? It's all random facts here. I mean, I think the Timbersaw, he used to be a professional basketball player with his chains and how he could get the ball in the ring. I don't know, is pretty crazy. So yeah, I believe in Army Genius. I think their timber skills in basketball, they can do it. I believe.
Okay, that's fair. Before we do let the casters take it away, which team?
I think whoever loses the early game is going to win.
Great analysis. Yeah, and yourself, Sheep?
I was once at a hotel and I opened my door and I looked out and Danog was just knocking on every single door and leaving.
This is a story
places.
I would love to hear, but I just want a team name.
game.
We're literally already in the game, so we're going to let Aries and Danog take it away because I don't want to hear this story.
I got no idea where that was going, so I'm glad we're able
I've never been in a hotel with Sheepu in my life. I don't know what that's about. Just one other thing, we got Narman playing the Tiny again, and I know we often see like a lot of people that are synonymous with a lot of their heroes. You know, we see like, you know, the Samael Storm Spirit, we see the Yopaj Ember Spirit. I feel like Narman's getting towards this position for Tiny as being his thing, and you know, speaking of Samael, we often call him like the king. Well, single time that he plays this Tiny, I want to call him Dwayne The Rock Johnson, because I feel like he is very capable of laying the smackdown on the enemy team if he's given the space and time to do so.
The start of the game, we saw some little bit of all chatting as well. DB asking if there's any Jollibee enjoyers, and Wami's saying that Ken is so poggy as well, and Ken's like Keck, so he's not feeling as confident, Ken, in this game, but we'll see. Danog, where are we putting our chips in a game 2? Do we feel like Army Geniuses have the lineup with the kind of crazy out of left field Slark, or can UDV send this to a game 3?
I mean, you got to go for The Rock, right? He's the great one. You got to support The Rock, and I think he's capable of doing it again. I mean, Cheaper was talking about how he was an ex-wrestler, an ex-wrestling fan, and, well, he's clearly putting it to work.
So what do we got? We got a person that was in a zoo on Ken. We have, or was he the culinary? There was another one now, I'm trying to remember.
Wami was culinary.
Yeah, but the heroes. Slark was the police officer, and Timber is the basketball player. So
professional wrestler, Narman.
So we
Narman
come
The
up
Rock
with
Johnson.
stories for everyone throughout this game? Is that our aim, to come up with a story for at least one hero?
The backstory.
All right, I'll leave that on to you. You can try and weave that in somehow.
All right, sounds good.
All right, well, we do get a bit different of a lane matchup mid for Azura. This time is going to be against JG on the Batrider. Do you feel like this is a tricky task for Azura to lane into?
I would say it's an incredibly tricky task for him to lane into. It's not like you're a Storm Spirit where you've got the advantage of, you know, being that ranged hero that's able to get a little bit of the safer farm, and you don't have any spells like, for example, the Static Remnant that you're able to spam out consistently. You are kind of constrained by your relatively long cooldowns and not even able to take full advantage of that magic stick. You still need to buy it, but it's not an amazing game to synergize with your abilities.
I guess I'm surprised you didn't mention, Danog, that they didn't block the small camp. So Azura will have this to at least fall back on shortly.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, like, it feels to me like you need to expend a lot more on a Void Spirit to be able to do that same sort of job, right? Like, as a Lena and as a Conqueror and as a Storm Spirit, it feels like it costs less mana to be able to clear a lot of that stuff, or if it costs the same mana, it does more damage with that. So it depends what they want to go for, right? Like, if you wanted to just try and get some sort of trades happening in this lane, you max out the Dissimulate, right? You just shove the lane in and look to try and take that farm back for yourself. But if they're looking to go for pickoffs, then they're going to need that Aether Remnant leveled up. So really just depends on how Army Geniuses want to actually go about their mid game. It's not all about how the lane's going to turn out.
And with one of the lanes up top, back into the Sand King, it's going to be Repeater. This game paired up with Loser Fight on the Hoodwink, and we get to see DB is pretty comfortable on the Slark. It's something that he really liked to run in prior patches, and do you feel like this is a perfect Slark game?
I don't think it's a perfect Slark game. I was kind of wanting for a few of these teams, like for the Medusa lineup, they don't really have anyone that's going to... Well, actually, Slark.
Oh, no. Oh, DB? So this is...
Those comments are just going to keep coming back to haunt you, Varese. These lanes are not turning out too well. Granted, it is a Hoodwink and a Sand King, right? Very strong lane, especially when you consider that, you know, Grimstroke Slark probably doesn't come online until, like, level 3 to have some kind of kill threat.
Ooh, okay. Just TP's out. I think though the Sand King is one of the better offlaners to play into the Slark. You have a AoE stun and a bunch of AoE damage in Epi and Sandstorm, so even if you get your jump in and Slark is able to Dark Pact and then pop ultimate, he's still going to be getting a ridiculous amount of damage dealt into him through the Shadow Dance. So in that aspect, it's not an easy time, but against everyone else, like, you've got a very good matchup versus Medusa. You love these tanky heroes that can just slowly feast off. The Batrider matchup is very solid as well, because Slark has this low cooldown purge as well.
The other thing that I'm a little worried about for Army Geniuses is that with this Slark being the... oh, is he get caught again? Nope. Being this last pick, how are they going to push towers? How are they going to invade high ground, especially against a Sand King and a Medusa? Like, that is probably the scariest prospect of all time. So, hopefully for their sake, because this is their relegation game for UDV. If they lose this, they are out of the DPC. So, I think they need to recognize what their strengths are and not do what they did last game, which was, like Sheepo said, just chain feed. You know, they just needed to group up as a ball, get a pick off, and then use that to snowball into some sort of high ground.
They will always have the Timber Ag Shard to be able to fall back on if that's a route they need to go down, and it does feel like Wami is going to have a pretty good time. I mean, you're against... I think Batrider is one...
Sure, right, but if you do that, you just get lassoed back, right, and then killed. So it's not like they have the easiest time of pushing with a Timber either.
What, you consider... It looks like he has the Ring of Hell, so probably could use into, like, Lotus, and if they have high ground issues, then you consider the Ag Shard then?
Yeah, but even, like, the high ground is the area that I'm most concerned about with all of this, right? Like, it's... oh, actually, Batrider is going to get caught a little bit here. The Rock making his rotation through.
Unable to catch up. Azura's actually still chasing a Remnant from afar, but it's not going to clip JG on the Batrider, so he will scurry away, but... Dude, how is Azura actually having a decent lane? He's hired... What's going on?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, he's... a lot of emphasis is being put on by JG to try and do the actual damage through to the Void Spirit, but doesn't seem like Azura's caring too much. I mean, we've seen time and time again that we've been very impressed with how he's able to lane, to dominate, kind of like Exilern for RSG. He wins a lot of lanes that he's probably not supposed to.
Bottom lane, JG is going to rotate early. Chain into a TP out. He is not enraged to cancel, and the tip is out. Wami, yeah, he doesn't even go all the way back to base, so that's huge. This is more time now for Azura just to shove out the lane, find his level 6.
I'm still just going to double down on my consideration that, is he going to protect this DD rune? Looks like he is on Narman. To be very careful, Teehee. That if Army Geniuses are going to win this, they need to do it early.
Lane under the T1 tower. Azura, with the help of the double damage rune, should be able to bring Teehee down. They will be able to do so with one last swing. This does force them to bring 2 supports mid, though, to be able to find this kill, but it's also a lot of damage onto the tower with the catapult.
Yeah, I'm sure they're saying, look, tank up the damage, let the siege creep do it. We've got double damage, we've got a siege creep.
This tower's gonna die.
Yeah, most likely.
No way.
Another TP rotation coming through. The Bane trying to disrupt it a little bit there. Armin, even just with his 0 armor, he's like, you know, I can take 1 or 2 hits.
Zero's in
Siege
again.
could do a bit more work.
Oh, he's gonna miss on the astral step. We'll get the deny on the tower. I cannot stress how badly this lane has gone. This should not be a lane victory for a Zero. He shouldn't have 1,000 net worth lead. He shouldn't have the first tier 1 tower of the game. The Batrider is a huge lane counter pick.
I mean, going for a little bit of a dive onto Ken here, but Teehee able to save. Yeah, I agree entirely, and yeah, I agree, Wami. That is certainly some words of wisdom coming through there. You ever heard that song?
I have not. I don't even know
the
what you're
beat is
speaking.
amazing.
Okay.
The voice line, it's a Thai rapper called Jarvis, and he like...
Go Jarvis!
Yeah. The beat is fire. I think it got pretty popular for TikTok.
Oh, that's such a cringe thing to say for a boomer. Oh, I've seen your dabs and your woes, and now you're saying this beat is fire. Oh no.
Yeah, I finna listen to it later.
Alright, they are making a decent amount of stacks in the triangle. I think it's a quad at the Ancients, nothing the hard just yet, so have a lot to fall back on as the first lasso of the game. At the front of the pit, JG be able to chase down Varese, and they do have a Zero that's looking to step in though. Beautiful combination is going to result in a way to rectify DB. Can he get there? Oh, he just gets the kill. No S and stacks, but at least they get JG in the nick of time. Now Ken?
That right.
Okay, Stone Gaze will be forced, and nothing too crazy, but now with the ultimate on cooldown for 80, they might use this to look to pressure the Deucer aggressively in the jungle.
Potentially, they might just look to go on bot as well, right? As DB's trying to do it on his own against Teehee. Nice little jukes coming through. Very nice, actually. Able to dodge that while getting the creeps off the tower. Still will probably die, but he's done his job.
And he gets some essence. Thank you very much. Army Geniuses off to a flying start. It's nothing crazy in the net worth, but Slark being on top, a very early Diffusal Blade. And I think the only Slark game we really have to go off recently is that it was Palos that played it, right? I'm almost certain. Yeah, and he went Echo into Diffusal, I believe.
I think both are fine. I think it's just the Medusa factor that you're like, okay, we kind of need this. And you know, the Batrider didn't have the greatest early game either, so even just something like the Inhibit active coming through from the Diffusal Blade, he's not going to have a BKB for quite some time, right? So you're going to be able to show up to team fights and seriously hinder the impact that Bat's going to have.
Well, they did give the Ancient stack over the Batrider though, so even with all that claimed, it's still the lowest net worth out of the cores, but for UDV, it's go time. You've got Sharpshooter, but more importantly, you have Blink on Rapido. Gonna look to charge up. Wami actually moves on forward with the Timber Chain, but Army Geniuses are nearby, but they will not be able to reach. Oh, what? They eat the Sharpshooter. Wami's away. Ken still has the damage to get the kill. The Timber Saw, but Azura, he's thinking about turning this around. He has another double damage room, but he's used all his ultimate charges and now runs straight into the Batrider. Lasso's out. Chain control follows shortly afterwards as Ken, out of every hero, the Medusa is the one that gets an ultra kill 10 minutes in.
What the hell is happening here? I mean, you were laughing a little bit at the Sharpshooter not going off. He actually had a Phantom's Embrace onto him, so he couldn't end the Sharpshooter early to get that combination through. So it was a nice use of the spells coming through for the Grimstroke. But yeah, you don't want to be feeding an ultra kill through. Not the Rock.
Yeah, they're just feeding more kills away. But Wami doesn't have anyone to play with. Wait, can they just turn it around, Wami? Chain the break is out. JT will sacrifice his life. What is this game? And Slark? Dude, TB almost just died mid. What's going on? This is crazy.
I mean, Medusa's just got 6 kills in the past minute, so I think she's going to be very happy. And, you know, you were worried about maybe them being able to get quite aggressive onto the Medusa with some of these early timings. You know,
they're going again. They're onto another support. This time it's a Hoodwink that's killed off in Loserfire. Then, do you remember the first game of 2-2? Do you remember what teams we were casting?
Is it RSG and Army Geniuses?
It was. And do you remember how many kills we had in that game?
I do not. I'm not.
Disappointing.
I'm a boomer, man. I'm a boomer. You gotta.
Okay, we had 104 kills in that game, 58 minutes in. It was such a crazy way to start off the season, and already this game too. I went 14 kills. We're about to be 12 minutes in. Action packed.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I'm a little. Army Genius just showed great individual play to be able to come back in game number 1 and really playing around their timings quite heavily. The fact that they went for a lot of those ganks on the top side without having the Diffusal Blade on Slark when he was so close to being having it available is just a big no for me, right? Like DB, he's got it flying out to him now. Actually got a smoke that could look to catch him out here, but looking to back up enough. Did his Shadow Dance break or something like that? Because
yeah, they have a ward.
He backed off pretty quickly.
He must have a little bit worried that they were trying to connect with that ward and no one was showing the lane. I think that's why.
Now that he's got it, now you can actually look to do something. I wouldn't hate it if he joined the rest of his team now, but it's just the fact that, you know, the Medusa has 2,000 extra net worth that she probably shouldn't. So it's going to make things a little bit more challenging for the next gank attempts. I mean, the plus side is you might just not go for the Medusa, go for the rest of the team. You know He's probably going to be playing around the Medusa to protect her. So it's just about trying to find some of these other pickoffs, but it seems like they want to get a few more of these key items. The Yule Scepter, very important as a bit of a counter towards multiple abilities on UDV's side.
Bottom lane.
Napalm.
Okay. JG was thinking about going for Wommy there. Not going to continue the chase. As back to mid we go. Azura jumping in. Peter with a counter initiation. But they do have some supports nearby to be able to step in. Azura's able to get out of the range of the epicenter. Very nicely done as bottom lane DB, who was able to kill off JG, but we're still chasing Lucifer to the triangle as Narman tosses one in. Further inside Radiant's territory, Ken's able to get involved, but they're doing a good job to kite the Medusa at the start. Narman, combination up, not enough damage to claim the life of Rapido, but that's where Azura can come into play. A quick ultimate into the Resonant Pulse is plenty of burst. Breeze, though, still might be under some trouble, sidesteps the bushwhack.
Oh, he didn't use the urn. He had one charge left. That would have been a guaranteed kill into Breeze.
But Ken's in trouble. They have the Slark starting to connect. She's not in trouble. Never mind, you are right.
The kill on the bottom side onto the Batrider was just that timing that I was talking about, right? The Diffusal Blade where you've got it on the Slark and you don't have BKB on the Batrider. He's going into it next, which is, you know, obviously what you want to go for. He'll look to opt for the Blink instead and just try and play around his Medusa a little bit more, but you just have to be so conscious of where the Slark is playing now on JG. And it's going to get even worse once the Slark gets the Shadow Blade. He's already about 1.5 components towards it, so it's going to be which team reaches that timing quicker.
Mid lane Azura, they have the Fiend's Grip, and Variz has already used all his abilities, so there's no cancel. A huge play from UDV, a pick-off now that they're looking to lead into the tier 1 mid.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Hippo mentioned that it was the ultra kill on Ken that ironically spelled the beginning of the end for them after they were a little bit disconnected and not able to convert that into the rampage. What do you reckon?
Hey, Wommy's being chased down. They miss on the pushback, but it doesn't matter because JG closed the distance, Alasha with ears, and while all this is going on, a tier 1's being claimed.
I mean, yeah, the fact that you're able to get a tier 1 and get a kill onto the Timbersaw at the same time, completely split up, is a pretty big win coming through. I suppose the way that they might try and justify that is saying, look, Narman's up on the top side, he's getting those extra levels, he's getting the farm that he needs, he's able to hit up onto... A little bit careful here, but he really wants that level 9 in conjunction with his Blink Dagger, just for that extra little bit of toss damage.
Lane, you're in again onto the Slark. Look at the burst. AG, they need to try and turn this around. It's going to be all on Azura. Narman's still without the Blink. It's flying out on the courier. Wommy's going to try and get involved as well. So the pure damage will get rid of the life of Rapido. So if he wants to step in, Ken's going to look to stand his ground. Killing off the Medusa is not an easy task at all. As soon as they butt their heads, he doesn't even need it. Ken's just like, all right, I'll stand there, force you all to turn back around.
But this could be the fake back. He didn't at the time have the Blink Dagger delivered to him, so Naaman will have this little bit of a surprise factor if they were wanting to go for it, but maybe just thinking, look, with Azura still not quite having enough health and mana to be able to engage with the rest of the team, play it a little bit more passively, but definitely don't want to be showing on this lane really quickly. Naaman just trying to shove the lane out and they ping him. So I wonder if that's he's got the Blink Dagger or if that's just, hey, they're mid.
We have to speak about this Slark build for a little bit, because I think DB going Shadowblade before BKB, which it's Slark wanting to go second item BKB can always be an awkward thing, but I think Slark cannot really play this game without BKB or without Ag Shot on Varese. You are going to be bursted through Epi and through Sharpshooter. Torpedo, they jump in. Look at all the damage they have just on the Varese. But Army Geniuses, they're nearby to be able to turn this around, but they still have to man-fight into Ken. Monster killing streak. They just don't have the answers to the Medusa at this stage in the game, and UDV, they're even eyeing up Wummy, but they will not close the distance.
Bro, that was all Teehee. He disrupted that huge combo with the Nightmare. I would have to assume, I'm going to look back at his player perspective after this. No, he's got the Shadow Dance.
Still
looking to try and slow down this push, not wanting to use the glyph super early on. I mean, you got a Blink Dagger on that Sand King. Gonna need to be a little bit careful there. Just trying to bait out the Dark Pact before they look to go in.
John Ken enters out. Nice reactions. Now Repeater is in with a combo. What an ultimate! It's so much damage that Army Geniuses cannot do anything. They're gonna have to look to retreat away as best as they can. Naaman easily chased down, and look at Luzify. Recognizes he doesn't need the stun for the Tiny. He'll chuck that one out to catch the Grimstroke. A 4-for-1 trade in Rapido. Man, what an ulti.
Yeah, combining together amazingly with the rest of his team. Even just the double stun, right? Allowing the Medusa to make use out of that insane amount of net worth that she's got. Remember, we were speaking about... I honestly can't think of a hero better than this Medusa that fits Ken's playstyle, right? We were speaking with JG earlier in the season, and we were asking them, hey, you know, Ken, JG, you used to be playing different roles. Ken was playing the mid, JG was playing the one. What made the change? And he's like, oh, man, this Ken guy, he doesn't say anything in the early game. We just want to let him sit back and farm, and, well, that he's done.
He's also got involved. 8-0-7 Deucer at 19 minutes in. Like, this is not a KDA you also expect from this hero. Bit of everything for Ken. It's almost Skadi soon to be completed. They got an influx of items.
20-minute Manta Dragonlance Skadi with a level 18 Medusa. Like, this is nuts. This is the sort of levels that you would expect maybe out of a TA at this stage of the game, just because of how much you're able to get super early on. Not a Deuce.
Luzify, no! Oh, my lord, Army Geniuses. Alright, well, we saw game one what could happen, and she was also giving her a little spill over to UDV, saying, guys, your first 20 minutes or so, you guys looked exceptional. Just keep that in the back of your mind and go from there. DB trying to solo kill Teehee. He's got to be really fast with his Teehee. Beautiful timing, the Nightmare down DB. He's committed in, but the reinforcements, they've shown up in such a convincing fashion that it's all going to be on the back of Ken to turn this fight around. Cyclone Dart, they're doing a good job to be able to control the Medusa, but down to the southern side, it's Luzify who will be killed off. Wummy's got the damage to go through. They're still trying to chase down Rapido as well. Wummy just doesn't have the vision. Now back to mid. And Zero, he's going to be okay. Another messy fight, though.
That was another really good play coming through from the Rock, though. He used the tree grab, and some people might say, oh, he was fishing for the kill onto the Sand King. But he recognized that Sand King hadn't used his Epicenter. He hadn't used his Blink Dagger at the time. So he was actually setting up and did use the Epicenter, but the tree landing onto his face meant that it did absolutely nothing. And Naaman knows about this now. So really good play coming through from the Rock, and he's looking to continue.
Oh, so do I have to call Timber the basketball player and then Deucer the zoo?
I'm only going to call Naaman that when he is playing Tiny.
Yeah, but we're also, you know, the stuff we were trying to weave into the cast earlier. Oh boy. 7,000 deficit for Army Geniuses, but they're continuing to try and make some plays. Rapido will not be caught out, so maybe they look for JG instead. Oh, he's got a TP, but the blink was cancelled by the Firefly. Oh, the worst timing.
They're just rallying around Ken. This is the big thing that they weren't doing in game number 1 that they are doing this time around. They're saying, look, there's no way that they're going to catch every single one of us in any kind of, like, Mars ulti. They don't have an Enigma. They don't have a Tide Hunter, right? So they can just stand relatively close by. Sure, Narman might get a great blink stun off, but it's not going to kill them. Whereas Ken, just sit behind him, make sure you're not feeding your life away. And now that they've got the objective that they need, they rotate back, they push the lanes out, and they're just going to look to reset and do it again. Probably around that mid tower, take the outpost, take Roshan. This is clinical the way that they need to go about this. And speaking about levels on Ken, he's just about to reach level 21 as well. So it's like, how do you even fight into this? I actually like the fact that he went the Stone Gaze duration as well, instead of the Mystic Snake bounces, just because Slark's one of those heroes that wants to be running at you. So it just benefits you so much to have that extra couple of seconds on the duration.
Do you like this call that they're looking to force Roshan because of the lead they have?
Sure, why not? I mean, they don't have a vision advantage right now. Actually, they're backing up. Be a little bit careful there on DB, but yeah, if I was them, I would have just pushed the lanes out a little bit more, right? Because it's not like Army Geniuses are going to take Roshan. It feels like very much a... I don't want to say a no-impact Roshan, but it's not going to negatively affect you to not take it.
Rosh still occurring. Slark. Let's try and find an angle in. You've got to be so cautious. Rapido is a big threat in a close proximity like this. And he just... Oh no,
they toss him out!
Oh, what a play! The Rockman once again, but they're still crumbling. The epicenter damage gets the kill onto the Tiny and the Aegis. But Ken, he wants revenge. Stone Gaze, and now they're on to DB. He won't even be able to make it on the high ground as the chain control. It's ever so beautiful. You get the Aegis, but at what cost?
And Armin, again, is just doing these plays that shouldn't be allowed to happen, getting these crazy tosses out there. And for whatever reason, he just didn't pop the Depth Shroud as well on the Slark. That would have done a huge amount to be able to ensure the survivability of the rest of his team.
Tier 2 towers now. First one claimed. Ken posturing like you wanted to go up for the tier 3, but looks like bottom is the call. They want all the remaining towers across the map. Now, we did see the Aghanim Scepter on the Void Spirit in Game 1 was a huge turning point for Army Geniuses. Can that be a similar thing in this game?
Oh, absolutely. You know, you want to make sure that you're able to, for example, force out a super early Manta style from the Medusa. You want to make sure you're catching... that's optimistic from DB. Freeze? You're the one that's a little bit deep, my man.
Oh my. Oh no, DB misses the pounce. Once again, the Nightmare creating a little bit of space. But DB's able to find a kill. They might turn to Wommy instead, just getting the chain away, but JG continuing to hunt. They don't have the haste. Oh, sorry, they don't have the lasso, but the cancel. Or the pause timing, but they'll get the kill. They've been able to cancel out the TP, so that's a big kill for them to find.
Oh. Hopefully their internet's okay.
Great to see it. Goddamn internet issues always losing is the biggest issue. Now, this gives us more time to brainstorm some of the creative backgrounds we have. Of course.
Well, Varese was an internet technician. He was the one that made the pause and then happened. So they're just turning it off and on again.
Okay. So what company is Varese with, though? That's the main thing. Is he with...
I don't give free shout-outs, okay? Other than the delicious taste of mate mate.
Ah, let's go. You're always able to put the shilling in there somewhere. You love to see it. But again, just to reiterate the importance of this series overall, UDV, they're fighting for an opportunity for tiebreakers. Currently, if they lose this series, and they will be relegated out of Division 2. Of course, there's always the potential of open qualifiers for 2 or 3. But if they are able to take this series, then there will be tiebreakers against Motivate and TNC as well.
Yeah, no, I'm sure a lot of the casual fans, this isn't a slight to UDV, but Motivate and TNC, they're more well-known teams. Like Parker was saying on the panel, Motivate really were the breakout online team that came since 2020, basically. Of course, they've had some more recent changes, which has harmed their standing a little bit, but they've become a bit of an institution, so it'd be a shame to see them go away. But the counterpoint to that is, well, if you're good enough, tiebreakers are where you're going to be able to show that.
Yeah, and we have seen over time that UDV have been growing in strength. That's just been a difficult season for them. Recently getting to boot camp and seeing how that's able to set themselves up. But in a game like this, we do have some reconnects and disconnects. So we have at least 3 people back in instead of the 5 disconnected priors. I love the good all chat ping, and then you give out some laughs afterwards. It's like, yeah, no, it's not going to really help out too much. What's he got, like 230 ping?
So what are some of these other professions that we've got for the different... Are we basing it on the heroes or the players?
Both, I suppose. We can do both. I think the...
How about Luzify's like a nature guide, maybe?
The new David Attenborough?
Sure.
I don't know if you can ever replace Mr. Attenborough, though. He's a national treasure. My guy is... Oh.
We're not British, okay? We can't call him a national treasure.
What was that? Did you try and do a British accent for like half a second?
What do you mean?
On
in it, bro.
That's right. We don't have to. We don't have to put up with your dabs or anything like that. So we're okay for now. No, don't do it. No. I didn't see. It's okay.
Got him. No, you saw everything.
No, I didn't see. Yeah, I think the Bane is a what? He's playing the Bane. I think he's a shaman. I don't know. It's just giving off shaman vibes for T.
Is that a common profession these days? Shaman.
Yeah.
I would have said sleep scientist.
Sleep scientist. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can dig a sleep scientist. I like shaman a little bit more, but if you want to be more hip, and I guess in this day and age, there's shamans. So what are you speaking about? You go over to...
Clearly a horde player, loving the shamans. It's paladins for life, brother. Let's go Alliance.
No one wants to speak about World of Warcraft when we are not playing. Wow. You're a filthy WoW player.
Bro, Warcraft is where Dota came from. You gotta be in touch.
True.
This is where the boomer in me just shows my superiority, all right? I remember back in the day when I was a young lad, and I was playing... Actually, my first game was with my WoW guildmates, and I fed like hell. So nothing really has changed in the time since then and now. So, yeah. But, no, good game. They just announced their expansion. And do you think Dota's going to get an expansion anytime soon? Dota 3. I know Gaben's allergic to the number 3, but could happen.
Is he? Why is this? Why is Gaben allergic to number 3?
Name me one Valve game that has had a third iteration, like something 3. Half-Life 3? Right. Nope. Portal 3? Nope. Team Fortress 3? Nope. Dota 3? Nope. There's nothing. It's 2, and then for Half-Life, they did Half-Life 2 Part 1 and Part 2. So they even just did away with that.
Okay, so we're going to get Dota 2.5 coming up shortly. That's the way to go. Do you remember your first game of Dota? I know, like, the hero you're playing and everything like that, because I know you just said you remember playing with your guild members.
I do. I played Brewmaster, and I seriously underestimated the strength of towers, and so I was consistently diving. I didn't know how aggro worked, and I went, like, 1 in 20 or something like that. And I was like, probably should look at how all this stuff works, because Dota, it's a complex game. It's been a complex game for a long time, but it wasn't good. I thought Axe was the most busted hero in the entire game, because I'm like, I'm running at him, and there's nothing I can do, so... Yeah, how about you? What do you remember?
I do not remember my first game. I know for a while that I was playing a lot of bot games. When I was introduced to Dota, my cousin and I, we went on a holiday. We went to Tasmania, and he brought his laptop, and he was very into Dota at that stage. And we were playing a bunch of bot games, and he was playing Spirit Breaker, and we were just having a bunch of fun, and that's kind of how I was introduced to Dota. And for a while, I was playing bot games, kept playing that. And I'm like, all right, I'll brave the unranked, I'll brave the warriors over there. And I don't remember my first at least unranked game. I played a lot of bots for a while. That was the way to go. You don't want to. The people are scary, man. And like you said, Dota's a hard game. Like, who has ever had a good first game experience in Dota? I feel like it's 95% of people that have.
Well, there's different ways to have not a good experience. There's like, you get stomped and you get discouraged, or you get teammates that just tell you a few things that they think you should know. I think that's why you got a 5-man party queue. You got to have other people. And that's what I was doing, right? I was playing an in-house with guildmates. So it was fine. Like, they were just like, oh, he keeps me alive in raids, so I'm not going to trash him too much. But, yeah, it might have put me off. So make sure you're nice in your pubs, guys. I know I'm always a very pleasant person to play with in pubs.
Kappa. Yeah, that's not true at all. Don't listen to Danog.
If people listen to me, I'm lovely. I'm encouraging. I'm joking around. But if you're playing this, a Slark with like a Shadow Blade and a Blink Dagger and you're jungling, I'm like, what are these items for, bro? What are you doing? You got to actually do something with what you buy. But
is that a
you've triggered me? You've
DB?
Triggered me now.
How have I triggered you? I've done
absolutely
nothing. What do you mean? I've actually done nothing. Doing nothing wrong. I'm just passing the time. We've got 3 heroes in again. People keep going out and back in. I don't know if there was any all chat saying they've only got 3 minutes for an update.
About 2 minutes, I would say now.
And he said they will give 10 seconds of their pause time.
Well, that's very generous of him. For a sleep scientist, he needs to be very accurate with his time, very sparing. While we wait for this game, we've also got a game later on where it's going to be Boom against SMG. Boom, they're playing for... If they win, then they tie up with Fnatic, and I believe they have to play tiebreakers. I might be wrong. Yes, and SMG, does it matter? No, I think it does matter. They need to win, and then they could force a 3-way tiebreaker, I believe, between T1 and Polaris. So, means a lot. Early predictions for that? What do you reckon's going to happen?
2-1 Boom. I want to say 2-0, but we've seen some... Yeah, Boom, they've been giving up games. I think that's something that Parker actually mentioned earlier, that a lot of their games they've been giving up. They've been going to the full distance into game 3. What do you think?
I'm going to say 2-0 Boom. I think they're just incredibly strong. And yes, SMG are able to bully the enemy team quite effectively, but I feel like they're also capable of big blunders as well. I'd say they're the highest variance team in the entire DPC, not just SEA. Their best is great. Their worst is not good. I feel like they would get beaten by a lot of Div 2 teams if they made some of the mistakes that they did. But that just goes to show how even SEA can be across the board. The fact that we might have a 3-way tiebreaker for a major slot.
Yeah, SEA is definitely a region I've been speaking about for a lot this season. I think it's the region with the most depth. Everyone's been looking a lot at Western Europe and just... They're very top-heavy with their Division 1. I think a lot of other regions are as well. And you look at SEA and there could be an argument for a Division 3. Not that it's, anything's going to happen or anything like that, but, we were mentioning a lot about, we do have, never mind, we're back in. So we get to see the Timber Sword dying. Yep, there we go. One is going to be killed off. But just to finish the point, I do feel like SEA is exceptionally far in their talent. We've seen how they've been able to grow as a region, and I think you're starting to show up at LAN. They are getting a lot more respect.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got players of the caliber of like 23 Savage playing in Div 2. He ended up dropping the 1 series against RSG, and so he's going to be in Div 1 next season. But, really nice bushwhack coming through there from Loserfy, catching out Narman. Really feels like they've been playing so heavily around him.
Why not just give another kill to Ken? Like, yeah, nothing crazy. Meanwhile, Azura, he's out of ultimate charges. And they are across the map. Everyone's being killed off. Meanwhile, Tiki's run into the Slark. What's going on? All the cores being killed off left, right, and center. JG needs to stack up the sticky napalm, but DV just gets the essence ring off, but they will still continue the chase. DV's able to pound to the high ground, but JG and Repeater, hot pursuit as UDV. They're hitting T3 towers. What
There
is
was the
this game?
Depth Shroud. This is twice now that DB just hasn't used the Depth Shroud for himself to be able to give him that extra regen when he's looking to run away. I'm really surprised, and honestly, the big thing that we were complaining about in game number 1 was that UDV, they split up. They didn't let a lot of this power of having this beast mode of a position 1 carry convert into anything, but honestly, I feel like they made the same quote-unquote mistake this time, but they found a rotation, they found a kill with every single one of those heroes that weren't together with the Deucer.
Do we have an Alchemist in the game? Because it sure as hell looks like that with the net worth that Ken has at the moment. What is this? 16, 0, and 8, 24,000, and the second highest is about to be at 12. Like, what is this?
And that's on your team as well. So it's not like he's stealing the farm away from the rest of his team. They're getting it in other ways for sure.
Well, this was the net worth lead that 18,000 precisely, where we saw Army Geniuses be able to somehow find an angle back into game 1, but this seems like a very difficult
Do you think this
position.
3% win probability is being generous by Gaben?
Yes. Yes, I think it's been way too generous. All right, DB, you got to try and do exactly what they're doing. Just hunt for the backline, avoid the Medusa. But Radiant doing a really good job to play around T. He's Repeater. A double Burrow Strike, and the ultimate's plenty of burst. And now with the Void Spirit's caught out as well. He's used all his Astral Step charges. They didn't even need the Epicenter. It was just off the back of the burst and the Sharpshooter. Now UDV. Can continue the chase. One miss, not the Repeater. He's been on point through this game. The Sand King gets the Burrow Strike at the last second as now UDV. It's higher ground time for the second time this game.
Yeah, they're lucky that they've got this bottom lane pushed in. The Rock's doing another good job of keeping that mid lane pushed out. They get this next creep wave as well, but there's nothing really stopping them from just whacking in onto these tier 2 towers. Even tier 3 towers. Top lane is going to go down as well with... They got buybacks on Army Geniuses, but it feels like if you use that, there's just no way you're coming back into this one.
Hoodwink's even a higher net worth. Level with the Void Spirit, the highest on Dire, is just going to show that how awkward of a play it is. And you brought up earlier, like, how do you Tiny into Dusa? You can't really toss him back. You know, Dusa would love to be in a compromised position like that. Oh, Rapido! Another double Burrow Strike. Ken's gonna look to step in or even just do some damage to the tower. Slark's falling lower and lower, even through the Depth Shroud. Is unable to stand his ground. He's got a buyback to look to rejoin, but Ken, he's still really healthy on the Medusa, just soloing Namen under the T4 towers. And that had enough. DB's not even going to look to buy back as we are going to a game 3.
Oh, I'm sure UDV are kicking themselves saying this could have been done and dusted. The tiebreakers could already be on the cards, but yeah, really nicely played. That is a crazy farm Deucer ending 17, 0, and 13. Out of 35 kills, he was involved in 30 of them, which is pretty much unheard of, especially when you consider, I mean, how aggressive Army Genius's lineup is. For me, I know you mentioned the Tiny, like you can't really play it, it's the Medusa. I don't want to put too much blame onto Namen. I feel like he did the most that he could have. Previously, I wasn't really blaming DB, but there were a few questionable decisions in plays, right? The choice to turn up to that first fight where the Medusa got the Ultra kill without the Diffusal Blade, not so good when he was only about 200 gold short at the time, I believe. And then 2 or 3 separate times where he just doesn't use the Depth Shroud and they lose the team fight as a result of it. Probably still goes in UDV's way if at least those latter 2 things happen, but it would have been a lot closer.
Yeah, I think this sets us up perfectly for a game 3 though, because we saw the Pugna was avoided from Army Geniuses in game 2, was banned out in the second phase. Now we could see some respect given over to the Medusa in particular, because if they're going to first phase it and play it as well as what UDV did, and also Rapido Sand King. So I think those are the 3 heroes that we're kind of looking for in game 3 to be hotly contested between these two teams. But this is what we want, for UDV in particular. We want to see them with the game 3, with their DPC lives on the line to try and force tiebreakers. But now it's all up to them to be able to set themselves up with a perfect draft. But we will find out if they can do so after the break.